Hey, welcome back to Duckman Cycles VW Garage. I'm your host, the Duckman. Ha 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 ha! We're back today with my 1956 Volkswagen Beetle, also known as Eleanor, right behind me. And to make a long story short, she was a storm-damaged car under Hurricane Ivan where she was under 6 feet of seawater and flooded completely and left that way for days. Left outside for 10 years to rot. After I got her, she broke in half. How's that for a short story? Instead of carrying on for about a minute, I gave you a quick blurb, about 10 seconds. Some of you are complaining about that. That's the story on this car. What I'm going to try to do today, because I have extremely limited light, there's probably not a whole lot of daylight left. We might be good for about another 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to do as much as I can with what we got. And what I really need to do is I need to do some more welding around this door right here. So we're going to jump in on that. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Pluck that little dingle belly down there next to the subscribe button. That way you get updates every time I upload a new video. And this is probably going to be the third video today, you guys. I'm going to put 3 videos up today because not any one of them is any really good. It's just kind of just a bunch of caca. So I hope you guys enjoy what I'm uploading today, and as always, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Join the Duckman Cycles group page. Make sure that you get in there. There's always a discussion on this project, as well as anything else that anybody else wants to share, and there's a lot of Volkswagens on there now. We have 420 members. That's right, 420 members. So it's time to party. Enjoy the party, and I hope you join the party. Unfortunately, to be over 420 then, but, you know, we'll look for 840, because that means we just 420 twice, right? 2 times 420? Thanks for watching, you guys. We're going to go ahead and jump on this project. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back, and you guys don't usually get to see me in welding gear because I usually do a lot of this off camera, but I've been getting asked a lot, why don't you show progress of you actually working? And I have before, but usually it's a lot of unnecessary stuff. I mean, you don't need to see me turn a bolt 35 times while nothing's happening. It's always the same, including when I run this weld over. But I'm going to show a little bit about what I do and how I handle this. There's a bunch of settings on my welder. And when I generally work with compromised metal, what I do is I have it pointed to the A and pointed to roughly between 4 and 5 at the wire speed. But if I need to hit metal, it's sheet metal on the body, that's in a little better condition, I might bump this up to B. And that will usually keep it between a wire speed, again, between 4 and 5. That's pretty healthy. If I'm welding on anything that's any thicker, usually I just push right up to D. I skip C entirely, and just go ahead and let that metal flow. That is most of the weld settings that I go with. In the case of Eleanor right now, I'm actually going to be using B. I'm going to go with about a 4 or a 5, and I'm going to see if it starts to burn through. And if I have way too much burn through, I'll knock it back to A. But for the most part, most of the things on Eleanor, her original metal is pretty rusty and a little thin in a lot of spots. So this is usually how I would set it up. But in some of the places where the metal isn't as bad or as metal that I've replaced before, I go with the B setting. So let's see what happens. Alright, here comes the fun. I got the heat set on B. Let's see what happens. Okay, I've got welded all the way around here. This is ready to be ground out now. I still need to attack on the inside here, which you guys can't see, but we'll get to that in a minute. I also need to build out this triangle wedge that's on the top here. My saw actually broke. I'm going to get another saw for that, hopefully tomorrow, and get the body, it's just a body saw, and get it trimmed out a little bit on both sides. Little pie cuts, as I mentioned before, and then bring this all together, and then make the wedge piece that fills in the middle. This area in here I'm really not happy with. It's kind of concave. I don't know why it caved in quite so much. I don't know what I was thinking. Looks like shit. But I got to cut through these welds here, pull this little section out, and then start tacking this all back together. And this flappy piece over here looks like it's overlapping. Probably shouldn't be. I don't quite understand what I did over here that made it that way. Something is really, really goofy wrong. So over here, I'm going to pull out this, well, essentially it's a dent. It's a dent right here, cut along the weld, pull the two pieces out, and then weld them back together. Hoping that this gap that's in here, where the window comes through, doesn't close up. Because right now it's pretty close to where it needs to be, but it's still not right. So let's see what I can do about that real quickly. Okay, now that looks more like it's supposed to. There's not a huge dent in here anymore where these two pieces caved in when I was welding them a year ago. And mind you, I was doing a lot of learning when I put this together then. So I need to run a weld through here. This is looking pretty good. There's a little piece of flappy metal over here. I'm just going to kind of cut it off of there. But I'll weld through here first, and then I'll just hit it off with the flap disc and continue through there and then fill the rest of it in. This is just about the way I want it. There's going to be very, very little skim coat of filler needed on that. And this is, in fact, I could probably even pull it out just a little bit more because there's a little bit of a pinch right here that I'm not happy with. But that U-channel fits down through here from this side, and that's for the window to roll up in. So that needs to be a little better than what it is. Now a lot of this side on the outside here is going to be replaced from about here forward, and then this whole thing will be pressed down. Right now it looks like it's a little bit high. It's not supposed to be that high. It's bent. So I will reshape that and fix that and get that straightened out. And then over here, of course, we'll be cutting this section out this winter, both here and here, and get that fixed. So that way we don't have all this rust in here. And make it look nice. Okay, let's see if we can close this thing up and make it look good. And if I have some time and it's still enough daylight, we'll weld in through here too and get that closed up the way it's supposed to be. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. I see a pinhole over here. I missed a little spot, but I'll make sure I fill that up also. All right, back to welding. All right, I did some grinding around here after we finished welding that in, and we've got a nice contoured door now, which is all sealed up except for a hole that blew through while I was grinding. But if you remember, this was where that flappy piece of metal was. So I left the flap out, and I just kind of welded behind it, and I ground off the flap and the weld at the same time. Apparently I didn't put enough weld fill in there, so I got to hit that a little more. This place is bulging a little bit right here. I'm just going to gently tap that in with a body hammer. And then in here, this is a little bit concave. So what I'll do is I'll pull that out a little bit with a slide hammer. I can fine-tune this. This is really close to how it's going to be finally. And looking at it this way, perpendicular, it's actually quite flat through here. This is good. This is really good. I got to get in here yet with the belt sander and smooth out this area. Right here, this actually needs to be bopped with the hammer a little bit because it kind of comes over like this and then goes up. So right here, there's actually a little bit of a high spot, so I have to tap that in. This is looking pretty good, as I said. I'm quite happy with what I got in here, and I would say this is not very bad at all for working in a hurry to try to get this done before the sun goes down. Did some grinding over here too, got that pretty smooth. It needs a little bit more fine-tuning. All of this just needs to be hit with a sander, touch up in here, and this corner is almost done. And as I said, once I got that one done, then I'm going to come up here and attack this little triangle. I have to weld in this hole over here, and there was rust involved here. This part of the A-pillar side of the door actually had a significant piece of rust in it, and when I started to cut it out to spread it to make it wide, to make the two pieces fit together like I did over on the driver's side, it just kind of crumbled away. So I ended up with a real crappy hole over here, and my old welder that I had, I didn't have the ability to turn the heat down on it enough, and no matter what I did, it would just burn through it. So a lot of the metal is kind of missing from here, and I probably should cut out and refab a piece and put it in there. And I might wind up doing that, but I'll play with the settings on the new welder that I have and see if I can turn them down to the A and lower the speed down to perhaps like 4, maybe 5, and then go ahead and just fill this through. And if that works out and I can sand it and it doesn't cave in and it seems strong, I'm probably going to leave it as is. Of course, then I have to weld down this seam here, which you can't see, it's facing towards my finger, and then run around here and fill this in at the bottom. And then of course I have to run along the entire window ledge here and get that filled in. There's just a whole bunch of tack welds from last year. But this is again part of my winter project, so I won't be working on the inside of these doors too much except for the pillar sides. So that way these doors are nice and square and they fit properly. And otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this door. And the only thing that really frustrated me with it is that it didn't fit against this gutter. And I think that's more of a fault of the gutter, as I had said before, because this is straight. I mean, I could put a straight edge on it and it's straight. But over here, it bows away from the door and comes back. And I think that had lots to do with me forming these pillars. I actually made these pillars. These A pillars were originally from a 69 Beetle, and because the pillars on a 56 are much wider, I actually had to cut them down vertically like this and then spread them out, which means that this corner in here for the window, I actually had to move it inwards. Noisy bike. In doing so, I actually affected where the defroster tube comes in, and it interferes a little bit with the hinge up underneath the hood. But because I narrowed this whole section over here, or I should say narrowed the windshield and widened the pillars, things fit a little differently underneath the hood. It doesn't affect the alignment of the hood or anything like that. It's just when you open and close it, it actually hits the side of the tubes that affect the defrosters. And I would like to have this stock defrosters work. I just think that's a nice feature to have. It's just, people say it doesn't work well on a Volkswagen, but I beg to differ. If you have properly sealed heat system and you have good heater channels that aren't falling apart, your heat will work very well, and it does on the fastback. I mean, it comes out of the dashboard, I think it was 160, 170 degrees. I mean, hot enough to scald you. If you put your hand on it, you left it there, it'll leave you with burns. So anyway, we're going to finish welding this sucker up, but not tonight. I did make some progress today on something. I'm really happy for that. So anyways, I'm glad I made a little progress on the door over here today, because it seemed like a pretty shit day otherwise. I mean, not a whole lot was going my way. I gotta lubricate them hinges too. That's just something that annoys the shit out of me. Like I said, it could have been an overall shit day, but I actually got something done here, and this is an important piece. I want this to be sealed properly. I don't want to have any ugliness in this area at the show. This thing just, the doors were completely unfinished last year. When people would open them, they would notice where the cuts were, and I only had things tacked together, and the door edge didn't sit right against the body. And people didn't notice the door edge. That was me. That was all on me. But around this area here, when they opened it up, they did see the holes were improperly cut and improperly welded with a shit welder that didn't do a very good job. So this, to me, is really important. These things need to be fixed. And as far as the door cuts are concerned, I only need to fix this corner, fix this spot here, come around this edge a little bit with a weld. Door is done. Okay? The rest of the door will actually be done, as I said, in a winter project. So I'll continue cutting through here and fixing this. The weather will be a whole lot nicer in the winter to do it, rather than this hot summertime shit where it rains all the time. The weather should start changing on that, hopefully later this month as we head into November. It's going to start getting a little colder down here. We are in Northwest Florida. Yes, we do get winters. Not quite as cold, definitely not as cold as even where I'm from in New Jersey. And actually, the New Jersey winters really aren't too bad because you're right on the ocean there, and it keeps you a little bit warm. Freezing temperatures aren't uncommon. It will freeze, but it doesn't freeze often. Down here, freezing temperatures, it happens, but not often at all. I mean, not often at all. And as far as snow is concerned, it's about a once every 10 or 20 years type thing. So we're probably not going to see any of that. So I'll be outside cutting and welding on this thing. And for next year's show, there's going to be a lot more done on this. And hopefully this thing will be running and driving on the street by next spring, maybe summer. And I don't know if I'll get the paint on it by then, but we'll see. As we discussed in one of the other videos before, I asked people about, colors, and I have that blurple colored paint, but overwhelmingly, people have said to make this car green again. And the more I think about it, the more I might be on the same page with you. So the original color was diamond green, and somebody painted jungle green over it. And one guy, I wish I could remember his name. I hate when I do this, and it always comes to mind later. But he said, why don't you paint it two-tone, use your diamond green and your jungle green. And my mind went, poof. I really, really like that idea. And I don't know how I would arrange it, if I would top-bottom it, or if I would make the side, that section on the side, which, by the way, was never a stock Volkswagen thing, to make the side panel a separate color, which white is probably the most common, or an off-white color even. That was never a stock feature on a Volkswagen. I probably won't do it quite like that, but I might do perhaps some type of pinstriping or something, maybe even instead of putting on the chrome trim, maybe I'll paint the trim in a different color. I don't know. Lots of different ways to look at that, and I really haven't decided yet, but the more I'm thinking about it, with you guys overwhelmingly saying green, might happen. I'm not saying it is. I might have a different brainstorm and pick something else, or maybe I'll choose a different colored green than you guys are even thinking of, or, maybe it'll turn out to be butthole brown. I really don't know what color it's going to be. It could be butthole pink. Maybe she's a redhead. That's it, right. Pink and red. Oh, that'll be an ugly combination. Paint the red on the top so she's a redhead, and paint the rest butthole pink. I'm going to have to edit the crap out of this video. That's a little filthier than even normally I carry on about. So anyways, like, comment, subscribe, pluck that little dingle belly down there next to the subscribe button, and we get updates every time I upload a new video. Please, please, please head over to Duckman Cycles VW Garage on the Facebook page. Join the Facebook group page. There'll be discussion on this project as well as anything else that I've got. Remember, 420 members on that group page at time of this recording. There might be more by the time I get this video uploaded. Because, I mean, we're getting as many as I think about 20 a day. Maximum is usually what I've been seeing. And they just keep stacking on. And you guys aren't just members, you're my friends. If you have some type of discussion, and you want to talk about a Volkswagen, or you're working on a motorcycle, you're building a truck, you've got a dune buggy, you've got a motorized skateboard, and you have questions as to what to do, or if you need a suggestion as to what to do next, come talk to us on the group page. If it's not me who gives you the answer, I don't always have the best advice. There's a lot of other guys on there that are a lot skilled in different departments, and they might be able to tell you what you need. So please, head on up to the Facebook page, post your comments, post your questions, post videos of what you got, post pictures of what you got, post a story about a Volkswagen that your family has had before. And as always, down below in the video suggestions, if there's something you'd like for me to see, if there's something you'd like to see on this car that you'd like me to do that's not too wacky or way out there, I'm always open to suggestions, so please leave them to me. So thank you very much for watching, you guys, and we'll see you next time, hopefully tomorrow. Take care.